I have to be careful with these daily vlogs. You might start to think I'm a creature of habit. Habits, physical habits, actions that we do repetitively over time. The habit to stand, the habit to sit, the habit to take the elevator, the habit to take the stairs, the habit to wake up in the morning and go to the gym is just as much a habit as the habit that says, no, we don't do that. There's these pre-wired things that we just do by default. It seems really simple, but after dinner, do you just get up and move around? Or do you stay stagnant? Do you stay in motion a lot, or do you stay inactive and sedentary? These are all like subconscious decisions that we're making that we don't realize we're making, and a lot of them we're making out of habit. For me, going to the gym is, I don't even think about it. It's so ingrained, it's such a habit. Even if I am not supposed to go to the gym in a day, it's still hard for me not to, just because I'm so wired to go. With physical habits, you're always asking the same question, which is this helping me or hurting me? Whatever it is, we got to make slight tweaks and create new habits and new cycles, or else we're just going to keep running the same loop forever. If you don't break a pattern, then you're just going to repeat the pattern. So physically, how can we audit that? How can we change that? I'm going to continue in my pattern loop, and I'm going to go to the gym. Pants. Where are my pants? Where are my pants? Taylor, did you dry my pants? They're so small. They're so small. What do they have on them? They got stained in the wash, and they have like rocket ships on them. And stars. Sleeping. We want these. These are the ones that make the baby sleep. She's out. That's real. That's not fake.
Betty Crocker naturally flavored peanut butter cookies. Cookie brownie bars. Fudge. Is that what you want? This is for our date night, not for me. All we need is a half a stick of butter.
So habitual communication is something that I think is really interesting. You're used to a relationship being a certain way because that's the way it's always been. So you don't really know how to, have a certain conversation or talk about a certain topic because you never have. Like me and Taylor even, there's certain things that we do habitually that we don't even realize that we're doing. Maybe something that I do really, really annoys Taylor, but I do it so habitually, like I'm not intentionally trying to annoy Taylor. She might be gets annoyed by me from time to time. But in the same way, there's things that she does habitually that I'm like, girl, that is gonna be challenged hardcore the minute that Jack launches out of Taylor. I think that the fabric of our habits are just going to be challenged because we're so used to functioning in this like certain way with these certain routines and these certain patterns and these certain loops. I think when Jack hits the planet, that's going to be one of the things that gets hit first. I'm used to doing things a certain way with a certain cadence, and so is Taylor, and we're going to have to shift so many of those habits, and those habits are going to change. That's when we experience that whole like resistance of change, because we're so used to doing something a certain way that when a new stimulus enters, we're forced in that moment to work against our habits that are working for us, that we have to create new ones, and that process is very tedious. People think and assume that just because I have this like gym habit, that means that I've always had that gym habit and I've always been this health nut and I've always eaten healthy, quote unquote. At one point, that was a habit that I had to create. And it was one of those things where you have to wake up early, you have to go to the gym, and it's gonna be hard and it's gonna suck. And you're not going to enjoy it for a while. It's the same thing with communication. You have a hard conversation about a topic that you've never talked about before with your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your cousin or your uncle or your monkey or your dad or your mom or your brother, sister, aunt, uncle. When you approach like a new topic of conversation that you've never talked about before, it's going to be uncomfortable. I think that when we're in those moments of stretching and we get out of the habitual and we move into something that's intentional. So speaking of breaking out of the habitual and getting into the intentional, tonight, Taylor and I are going to do a date night on a budget, which looks like I'm cooking dinner and we're gonna watch a movie and we're going to talk. That's gonna be awesome. We spend a lot of time together, but sometimes even when you're spending time together, it's so habitual that it's nice to label it date night and be intentional. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, or hit thumbs down, hit, dislike, whatever. Hope you guys have a great day, great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday.